In this game, impacts aren't just expected, they're celebrated. That's why premier players choose Q-Collar, the proven shield for their brains. Be ready for the clash. Keep your head protected and in the game.
All right, LSMs. LSMs are always fun, right? Kids run around, make a bunch of plays, play on offense, play on defense. Usually get a ton of attention for slick ground balls and scoring goals. My favorite in the class got the most attention to me for actual coverage of midfielders and being a lockdown defender. So I'm going to start this one off and then I'll kick it out. But that's Reese B, Episcopal School, Team 10, LSM. We've talked about him on pods this year. We've written about him. He's one that at this point I think is pretty known. But he's my guy in the class of, like, if I had to pick one, if I was a coach that had a full scholarship to give, or I was going to go and win a title and I needed to bring in one LSM, Reese B is the one that I'm going to get.
Yeah, just sideline to sideline, pressuring you nonstop. And like you said, he's not going to have the fun, super crazy transition plays that Jackson Allen might, but his relentless pressure made me write him up at one of the events over the summer as well. So Piontek could definitely vouch for that one. Jackson Allen for me, though, I mean, from that first statement, just from the fun aspect, the toe drags, the rips, the sidearm, and
all the stuff that doesn't matter.
All the stuff that matters if you love transition. If you love a guy like Jake Paisano, then you love a guy like Jackson Allen. So a guy like him is going to be fun to watch if he lands the right spot in the next level.
I saw him as well, and I thought he was more of a close defender. I didn't, as much as he can do all that stuff, I saw him kind of locking down on number one attackman and taking that role, and seemed better for him. He's not the most he doesn't have the most size, so I'm not sure where college coaches really project them into their lineup. Maybe a little bit of both. But I saw him more as a close defender when I saw him on the circuit this summer.
I had the same reaction. When I saw him early in the summer, he was playing with Salisbury, where he's transferring, and he was guarding Brock Geraci, and honestly, he reminded me of a grill. And by that, I don't mean like what you put on your teeth. I mean like one of the Grill brothers. What, you like that?
Shout out.
Well, I thought that if you were going to make a grill comparison, you would have gone to
Like a Weber.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, that would have also made sense. Or like the front of a car.
Not Paul Wall.
Yeah. That's a reference for the kids. Yeah, so it's about leverage, right? And particularly when you're guarding attackmen who are in that 5'5" to 5'9" range, and you can get on their hip and you don't overextend, and they can't get into your body as easily. I think that there's a lot of value there. And the reason I bring it up in that context is because I feel similarly about JP Magio. When I was watching him for BBL at prime time, he was kind of floating, but staying on a decent amount. And I thought that his ability to play the corners, and stay competitive at GLE was really impressive to me. So, I don't know how that translates necessarily to a combination of box to box as well as, guarding at the restraining line and getting dodged and having to turn your hips and run with someone. But, I thought that he was good in close spaces.
Yeah, Magio is one of those guys that just every time I've seen him, the ball has been on the ground, and he's been the guy who's forcing it onto the ground. Takeaway artist, kind of a menace. You're just scared of him whenever he's on the field. And it's kind of there's also a chicken or the egg with him in the sense that, like, he's committed to Army, and I just trust Army at that position so much that, how much stock do I put in, what they see in him? Because Army, it's a place where every LSM that comes out of there is really, really good and really solid. So obviously, if that staff sees something, there must be something right with this game.
Why Stamnis? We talk about physicality, being scared. I thought that is what he brings to the table. And, Lawrenceville, another kind of endorsement by virtue of coaching staff. Not only if you think you're good enough, if you think he's good enough to be a part of your program, it confers that he's probably good enough to be a part of another program at the next level. But also, he's going to get coached up. He's going to get coached really hard. He's going to be used to difficult coaching. Brian Burke, Massachusetts, jumped out to me at National All-Star. There are a handful of Massachusetts defenders that jumped out to me at different points over the course of the summer, and that midsummer moment was when it happened for me with him. Similar. I think there's a little bit of a theme of mean LSMs and the way in which that manifests in the game that has value. But yeah, he's another one. That being said, with all this, I think that we're kind of burying the lead because we haven't talked about the guy that before the summer NLF and Magic deemed as the number 1 player in the class. What's your take on Ethan Brov?
Yeah, I mean, I think he's where the conversation starts, similar to like the barometer setter that we've measured, the measuring stick guy that we've kind of continued to talk about. And he's excellent. He does a ton of stuff. He does everything that Kevin would love, right? Like scoring, going the other way, these highlight goals. But a lot of times what that is just the ending of a clip that started with really good defense. And I think that's what he brings to the table. It's just this like versatility and a well-roundedness that maybe, peaks with, everything that Kevin's talking about with ground balls and, scoring goals and all that type of stuff, the flashy stuff. But there's a lot more than that to Bravov's game.
This guy just flies around the middle of the field. Causes havoc, caused a bunch of turnovers in the middle of the field when I saw him at NAL. So Bramov definitely buried the lead a little bit with him, but he's going to be fun to watch.
And I mean, the thing that it's just energy. Have you ever seen him playing like, it's 97 degrees outside and it's the third game. Like, you don't see him drop off. He is just a motor and just has that like frenetic, like, I don't know where it comes from, this infinite reservoir of like excitement at the game. He's got it.
Totally. And I think a lot of these guys, like, I have, a quick note section, and as you go through, like, the word tenacious pops up a lot. I think that a lot of these guys bring that one more to throw into that category of just a tenacious LSM that, everybody should really know. That's Michael Brennan from Loomis School, Loomis Chafe. Does his, is another guy that's just really tenacious, excellent in the middle of the field, but really good on the cover, plays great team defense, and just kind of gets it, brings a level of urgency to the table all the time that you would want to see out of an LSM.
Championships aren't won on the final shot alone. It all starts with the commitment to stay healthy and on the field for your team. Q-Collar, essential brain protection so athletes can chase greatness.